I would like to welcome Miss Kompal Kapoor.
So I belong to Lucknow, and back then, 8 years ago, this career was not really something. Being an influencer, creating content, and I'm sure you all know that. Uh, Lucknow, mein, I think I was one of the first people to bring this up and really pursue. I went to Delhi for my studies, and I was also doing this on the side. I had a fashion blog, and I was posting side by side with my college, and somehow it picked up. Luckily, my work picked up. So now I'm going to tell you the actual story. Uh, Dheere dheere, when the partnerships started flowing to me, uh, and my work was picking up, my parents were slightly proud because they did not expect anything from me, honestly. So when they saw, theek hai, acha kar rahi hai, good for herself, that's exactly the time when I was also getting married. I was dating someone who was studying in the US and then he was working there. Yup, we were in a long distance relationship. And when we got married, it was time for me to leave India. And that was exactly the time when my work was actually picking up well and I had started uh, partnerships and deals flowing in. And I could finally say that, okay, I'm a working woman and I have good amount of work on my plate. And of course, being in a long distance, I realized that we had already been far away for almost 4 or 5 years. I realized if I'm getting married at this point, it's fine to risk my work and maybe just go outside and try creating content there. And maybe the right brands will reach out to me and work will flow. I just went with that uncertainty and we moved to Boston. Uh, I created a lot of content initially. And of course, just when my work was settling in India, I left for the US. And I just went with a mindset that jitna hoga karenge, dekha jayega. And honestly, work was doing well. And a lot of Indian brands were recognizing my work. They were reaching out to me in the US. And, even a single partnership a month was giving me that hope. Okay, that yes, I can still earn money, sitting away from my home country. And it took some time. जैसे काम और सेटल हो रहा था न्यू कंट्री में आके immediately it was 2020 and COVID had hit. So again, we all were stuck wherever we were. It was again a little drawback and I realized that ठीक है अब फिर से चीजें slow होंगी. But luckily that time worked well for me and it was not a downfall for me and my work picked up because I really believed in creating what I wanted. While I believe a lot of people grew in COVID. बहुत लोगों ने content घर पे बनाया in India or anywhere in the world and things really picked up for them. And the same happened for me. I believe that I could, mix Indian fashion with all the beautiful places out there in the US, and designers were somehow loving it. If I had a lehenga, I would go to a Brooklyn Bridge and shoot there, or maybe something next to, under the Statue of Liberty. And people were loving it how I was doing saris and lehengas and all Indian labels outside India. And that gained a lot of attention. My pictures were literally straight out of a magazine cover. And I would take that credit, honestly. They were so nice that people would stop by and appreciate. And that gave me that hope because, and this is what I'm talking about, say 6, 7, 8 years ago when there were no reels, no video content. It was mainly pictures. And it picked up well. And somehow I thought, okay, I expertise in this. And I was loving it. If you guys go back to the time or on my page, my Instagram handle, and if you see that how my Instagram looked like 4 or 5 years ago, it was totally different to what now content is being created. It was a beautifully curated feed, more about picture, the right photography, the right colors, the right edits, and how the entire thing was curated. Uh, then, when the journey was going, it was fine. I started to receive a lot of brand deals in the US. Straight from India, that was giving me a lot of hope that, okay, people do trust in my work. And sooner or later, I'll tend to get bigger brands. And also on the side, I also saw a lot of creators picking up in India as well. And that gave me that FOMO, of course, that we all have. And somewhere I realized that the moment, the lockdown is over and the travel is better, I should really visit my country and see how brands are picking up and how I can also be a part of it, because I started to feel excluded out of this journey. And being an Indian creator, I always wanted to have my mark in my own country, because on a foreign land, you are still someone who is, someone who's still new. They might not accept you, or they might not understand what sort of work or what sort of audience or content you make. The content we make in India is so different from the content we see outside. We have so many festivals, we have so many traditional things happening, which is not the case outside. They're more about creating work at home, what you're doing, your lifestyle. And that's how I blended in. I was also creating a lot of content at home, showing my life, maybe say how my husband is helping me cook food, or how we together as a team we're doing everything, how he is being a part of my work, how I am being a part of his journey. And that's also a big part of my life that I had shown on Instagram in the last 5-6 years, and I connected to my audience. uh, Now, coming back to my journey after COVID, when things were better, I came down to India. I realized there was so much for me that I had missed out on. Of course, there were people that I saw who started after me, were now ahead of me. And I thought, I need to be here. There was so much work, so many partnerships, so many opportunities that were waiting for me here. And it was not worth leaving, honestly. So somehow I tried to balance between both the countries. I would travel more than 5 or 6 times in a year, India to the US. Uh, New York, basically. We moved from Boston to New York after 2 years. And New York was the place where I thought things were thriving for me, because it's the fashion capital and all the designers are there and all the fashion weeks happen there. And it was somehow connecting me to the right audience. Uh, Eventually, when my husband realized that, okay, she really wants to be in India, her work is thriving, and we should not be taking it lightly, that was the time, maybe say 2 years ago, he realized that maybe iska man nahi lagega yaar, and we should really consider moving back. So 2 years I did back and forth, and he had a great job in the US. And now, eventually, when we realized the power of social media and how beautifully my work could thrive in my country, after all the back and forth I did for the last 2 years, literally shuffling, working off hours, managing different time zones from New York to India. That's something I did for 6 years. And we saw that it was really impacting my health. And it was also making me lose out on so many opportunities on a daily basis that was happening in India. And this year, we finally made a decision to be back to our country. And what I want to tell you here is that uh, 7 years back, we moved to the US. I mean, I moved to the US for him, for his work. And today, after 7 years, we are here for my work. So this is something that doesn't really happen, like the female empowerment and how husbands would support. That is not something we would see on an everyday basis. But for a guy to leave his work, come for his wife only because she did the same, and realizing the whole potential of it really holds a lot of value for me. And now I'm continuing my work. It's been 6 months to us in India. He still manages his work out there. He's doing it because he says you did it for 6 years. And now I deserve to do the same for you. So now he's the one who shuffles from India to New York. And I'm the one who's here loving my people, my work, and I'm pushing boundaries every day. And like this opportunity that just came, maybe I would not get this in New York. So something like this coming on a daily basis really adds value to my work, my efforts that I've done in the past years. And a tiny lesson that I learned and I would want to teach you is that wherever in the world you are, you can really make it if you want to put efforts. That's something I have realized and I've believed in, because things just did not come to me as on a platter. I worked for it, and I believe it can happen for everyone, each one of you here. And I know parents tend to take this profession a little lightly, but trust me, patience is the key. Anything you do on social media, it requires patience, it requires consistency. It may take a year, it may take 4 years, but it really takes you to the right point if you're believing in it. And third, I would always say, if you have the right people beside you, whether it's your family, whether it's your partner, your children, anyone, I think having the right support is everything, and you can cross any barrier. So that's my little story about how I created this name for myself and this space for myself. Thank you.